What's up, Digidestins? This is Kylie, better known as RideMyAvatar, and today we are going to be going over all the amazing BlackWarGreymon support. Were you expecting no less today? I knew that we were getting a bunch of it, and without further ado, let's dive into the video and talk about it. So let's see what goodies Bt-11 has in store for us. First off, we have a new Black Memory Tamer. So this one is just strictly for Greymons only, and it's nasty. So first off, start your turn if you have 2 or less memories, set yourself to 3. It's fine. Kuga. I'm gonna just say Kuga. Your turn. When your Digimon digivolves into a Digimon with Greymon in its name, by suspending this tamer, that Digimon gets plus 2000 DP until the end of your opponent's next turn. So it's a consistency boost. So since we're losing it in certain other aspects of the new Greymon X antibody line, well, BlackWarGreymon X antibody line, we're going to compensate it somewhere else. And then if you digivolve with the same level, which means basically Greymon into Greymon X antibody, or, you know, BlackWarGreymon into BlackWarGreymon X antibody, this is unaffected by your opponent's option cards until the end of your opponent's next turn. That's a complete 2-turn cycle in most circumstances. Your turn, their turn, and then you can do it the following turn if you saved it up right. So this is going to be a lot of strategizing, but this shuts down Chaos Degradation, Wyvern's Breath, everything. No options on you. That means basically Security Control just cries in a corner. And Sunrise Burst that they're going to try to use on you, completely useless, completely junk. Now we have Hades Force, which is BlackWarGreymon X antibodies in the game for Redigitalization's signature move. So when you would use this card, if you have a Digimon with X antibodies Digievolution cards, reduce the memory cost by 2. So basically this 7 card cost becomes a 5 cost, as long as you have the X antibody option. That's fine. Choose any number of your opponent's Digimon or Tamers whose total play cost adds up to the play cost of one of your Greymons in its name or less, and delete them. So we can delete up to 13 play cost total. So for a 5 cost, by the way, then one of your Digimon gets with Greymon may attack your opponent. So basically we get a pseudo blitz. Okie dokie then. So basically what we're going to be doing is blow up anything that name Cross Art, Blue Flare, Hybrid. This card exists now. You're going to be struggling hard. They are making sure that BlackWarGreymon can hard counter any of those Tamer-centric decks. They have listened to your crying and everything like that. We have finally got an answer to the problem, children. So 13, depending on situation, might just pop 6s, maybe pop an 8, maybe a 9. If you're lucky in most cases, maybe a 12 cost here. You know, a couple Tamers here and there really goes the extra mile. And without that, we also have Security delete one of your opponent's Digimon with the highest play cost. So it has a small Gaia Force effect. But I hate that we can't select what we want, but that's understandable. They had to nerf it in a way in Security so that you could use this on-play effect of kill all Tamers. Now let's talk about BlackWarGreymon X antibody himself. He digivolves from a BlackWarGreymon for 2 costs. Expected, even Agumon was 2 costs. Reboot, really awesome. They both have reboot, so both will be beneficial. And then opponent's turn, once per turn, when your opponent's Digimon with the highest DP attacks, you may change the attack target to this Digimon. So being able to redirect attacks is really important, especially if we can get this thing to 15, 17 very easily. And then your opponent's doing what? Sitting on it. They might not swing because now they're worried that BlackWarGreymon might not even have blocker on it. This has Magnemon X antibody skill written all over it. And that's really powerful. I mean, it's a once per turn. That's fine, because you could just block one attack, and then when they swing in the next, you can redirect it in. So it's you get like 2 blocks in a turn, which is not terrible. An opponent's turn, once per turn, when a Digimon is unsuspended, if the Digimon has BlackWarGreymon or X antibody and Digievolution cards, you may delete one of your opponent's Digimon with the lowest play cost. So maybe they slam down Death X to you the turn before. Or maybe they have a big boss Digimon. Well, since the unsuspend phase happens after you swing with the BlackWarGreymon itself, unsuspend triggers, pops their big boss Digimon if it doesn't have any sort of protection. I love that it has some weird jankiness to it, and it's really powerful. Next, we did get Agumon X antibody and Greymon X antibody. By the way, dual color too. 3 cost evolves, that's fine. 5 cost play, 6,000 DP. 4 cost on this Agumon X antibody, which really okay. So let's talk about this. These are more protective options. So Agumon X antibody Digivolve from Agumon for a 0 cost. On play, when Digivolve, reveal 3 cards from the top of your deck. Add 1 card with Greymon or X antibody and 1 black tamer to your hand. So now you have ways of searching out your black tamers. This means, you know, the girl from Bt-11 is very viable now because you can search her out and now have a way of reducing your MetalGreymon because it's dual color. I forget her name. It's slipping my mind. You know who I'm talking about. And then because she has an on-play search for dual colors and the Digi-Evolution reduced for duals. And then also searching the new memory tamer is going to be helpful. But that's just power in its own way. And then inheritable both turns when the Digimon has Greymon or Omnimon in its name and is deleted and returned to your hand. Or deck by effect by returning 1 X antibody option from this card's Digi-Evolution to the bottom of your deck. This Digimon is not deleted or returned to hand or deck. So, self-protection. Especially since that X antibody option doesn't see much use after a certain point. It's a real good negation counter. And it helps. Sometimes that's all you need. Greymon X antibody, Digivolving from a Greymon for 0 cost. Your turn, when this Digimon Digivolves into a card with Greymon in its name, for every color this Digimon has, reduce the Digi-Evolution cost by 2. So, if this Digimon has 3 colors with that X antibody underneath it, really nasty. No, sorry, it's only 2. So it reduces 2 costs. I don't understand why it just, when this Digimon Digivolves into a card with Greymon in its name, for every color that card has. Oh, sorry, that color has. My bad. Basically, misreading is fun. Being able to make your MetalGreymon a 2 cost really does help out. Negating Nokia, basically, in hindsight, this card is really powerful, but you're off at a weird trade-off. But something to keep looking forwards to. Both turns, when this Digimon has Greymon or Omegamon in its name, Omnimon, is deleted or returned to hand deck by returning the option from this card's Digi-Evolution card to the bottom of the deck. You may prevent it. So it's another way of going around it, but what I'm seeing what's going to probably happen is that this Agumon's going to be used for the BlackWarGreymon deck, but this one might see small, might only play a couple of these Greymon X antibodies, and then you're just majority going to go to the red Greymon X antibody just because of how climbing works, and it would just be beneficial that way. It's not terrible to be able to de-digivolve your opponent's stuff, but we'll have to see how that goes. I think Bt-9's Greymon X antibody is just a little bit better, just because removing sources sometimes might help out, especially because having multiple X antibodies, this is a one-time protection where you need multiple protections sometimes. Coromon, opponent's turn, once per turn, when an opponent's Digimon is deleted, and if this Digimon has Greymon in its name, draw a card. Black finally getting another draw advantage card, and this really does help out. They needed some way of drawing cards. But because of how the line goes, we're pretty set. Now we have MetalGreymon X antibody Digivolve for MetalGreymon for 1 cost. It's okay. We already expected this. This thing is dual color. They always have to put extra cost to it. When Digivolving, until the end of your opponent's next turn, this Digimon cannot be affected by your opponent's DP minusing effects, so it finally gives protection, and the Digi-Evolution cannot affect it. That is powerful, if I do say so myself. Then if this Digimon has MetalGreymon or X antibody and Digi-Evolution, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 6,000 DP or less, so basically killing off most champions in this format. And then opponent's turn, once per turn, when this Digimon is unsuspended, if this Digimon has Greymon or Omegamon in its name, trash 1 card from the top of your opponent's security. This is where the long game happens with this deck. Basically, always going to happen is your reboot's going to just keep triggering and restanding, and you're going to get a free trash. As long as you can keep up the protection wall that this card's going to have, your opponent really can't do anything to this unless they're trying to force delete it. So they're going to have to swing into it, and the likelihood of swinging into this thing is going to be very unlikely. We got Leomon with Retaliation. Both players turn, all your Digimon with Retaliation gets plus 2000 DP. This is basically to help out with the Mervamon deck. Be able to play this for basically free, and it'll have Rush and Blocker. Really nasty. That's just nasty. And then Dracomon. So Retaliation, on deletion, draw one, then trash one card from your hand. Helps cycle out everything. I think this is pretty nasty, and it's going to be very interesting what they do. Then we have Tsunomon. So your turn, once per turn, when a card is trashed from your hand, by effect, this Digimon gets plus 1000 DP. Really good. I mean, hey, we might not see play because draw is more important in this game. And then you do have, you know, Dracomon. So this card is just basically a vanilla 4-drop. Then we got Greymon. So Digivolving from MetalGreymon for 2 costs. When Digivolving, unsuspend this Digimon. Then if this Digimon has blue flare or cross hardness Digi-evolution cards, if your opponent has 2 or more Digimon, gain 2 memory. So basically he can Digivolve for free, depending on certain circumstances. On deletion, save it, then put a Greymon and MetalGreymon from your trash to the bottom of one of your tamers with general in its traits. So put yourself under Thomas. No, not Thomas. Whatever his name is. You know, Mikey, or, you know, the other guy. So, inheritable opponent's turn. When this Digimon has blue flare in its traits, this Digimon gains blocker. It allows at least the new Shoutmon to use this. DX, or, you know, just how it's going to be. I don't know how this is going to really play out. I mean, the blue flare trait is really important, but sadly the old Shoutmon DX is kind of useless now because this thing doesn't even interact with it at all. Which I'm surprised they did that. They should have just made it, if it's Shoutmon or blue flare, would have been very beneficial that way. Dracomon digivolves from Baby Dracomon for a 0 cost once per turn. When you play another Digimon with Dracomon in its name or blue flare in its traits, draw a card. So more blue flare support. And then once per turn, or your turn, when you play another Digimon with Dracomon in its name or blue flare in its trait, gain 1 memory. So this extends your plays, speeds you up a little bit. And then we do have a MetalGreymon plus Cyber Launcher. This is really interesting of a Digimon setup. This card / Digimon name is also treated as MetalGreymon and CyberDramon Armor Purge. On play, when Digivolving, you may put 1 blue flare Digimon from your hand or under your tamer to the bottom of this Digimon's Digi-evolution cards. Then return one of your opponent's level 3 Digimon to the bottom of their deck. If this has CyberDramon in its Digi-evolution cards, return one of your opponent's level 4 or lower to the bottom of the deck. And then Digi-Cross from MetalGreymon and CyberDramon. Really powerful all-around contender here. Very useful. Next, let's talk about Phoenixmon, aka Ho-Ho-Homon. Once per turn, when your opponent's security is reduced, trigger one of the on-deletion effects. So, I'm already going to tell you this right now. You might want to be thinking about Omnimon Merciful mode for this, because that free trash instantly triggering this and gets you another free Ho-Homon. And with the tamer, you can rush in more. So that might be something you want to look into just to set up, because a Merciful mode is really big and beefy, and sometimes they can't just remove it. On deletion, you may play 1 3000 DP or lower red Digimon with Bird or Beast in its traits from your hand without paying its cost. For each red tamer you have, increase the DP threshold of that played Digimon by 2000 DP. Really powerful, actually. And this keeps climbing up, so it can easily get there very quickly. Depending on how many Digimon you get, it's very easy to hit 11, so you can play Ho-Homon or Phoenixmon for free, and then just go apply pressure to your opponent's face. Crimson Flare, delete one of your opponent's Digimon at 8000 DP or lower. Then, if you have a red tamer, trigger on deletion effect of one of your vaccine Digimon. So, Phoenixmon is vaccine. So it's going to be very interesting on how that goes. And then resolve the main effect. Not terrible. Then we got Yokomon on deletion. If you have a red tamer, draw a card. So that's basically, if you want to get the draw, you might need it. You can go that way without losing your Digimon is really important. And then Rindo, Akio. On play, reveal 4 cards from the top of your deck. Add 1 red Digimon with vaccine in his traits from among them to your hand. Return the remaining cards to the bottom of your deck. And then your turn, when you play a red Digimon with bird or beast in his traits, by an effect, by suspending this tamer, that Digimon gains rush for the turn. On play her for free in security. Not bad, actually. And then we have more on deletion. Birdramon has blocker, but on deletion you may play 1 4 or lower red tamer from your hand without paying its memory cost. What can be really nasty is, if you don't need to play a Digimon right away, you could just play a red tamer, like a red tie, instantly gaining another security check to apply more damage, and that could lead to a game win situation. And then Garudamon, so blocker on deletion, you may play 1 4 cross, same thing as the other one, it's just a copy paste here. Not bad. Machinedramon got shown off too, which is really interesting. On play, when Digivolving, reveal 5 cards from the top of your deck. Add 1 analog man from among them to your hand, and 1 card with cyborg or machine is traced from among them to your hand, or to the bottom of this Digievolution cards. Trash the remaining cards. Helps filter out, helps speed you up. Really powerful. We're going to see probably a little bit more on the tidal wave or anything else. There's so much potential here. And then on deletion, by returning 1 of your analog man to the bottom of your deck, you may play 1 Machinedramon from your hand without paying its memory cost. What's basically going to happen is you're going to blitz with this with the new option from Bt-11. That option will basically make this so that when you swing in, that blitz will trigger. And then if he dies in any capacity, instantly go and play Machinedramon from EX1. Basically grab all the sources you need, and then pass it back to your turn, and then you can swing in yet again, because you'll have rush. Very powerful combo, in my opinion. We have jamming and inheritable reboot is from Gigadramon. So reboot's just going to be useful all in general. And then DG Dimensions, when you would use this card, if you have a black tamer in play, reduce the memory cost by 1. So he becomes a 7 cost. And then 3 of your opponent's Digimon gets de-digivolved by 1. Then delete 3 of your opponent's Digimon with a play cost 6 or less. Baby, I love being able to pop out 6 or less Digimon. Champions are super powerful. Marsmon, the new Vaccine Shaman Olympus 12. This is really powerful. Charge, which is a very interesting keyword. We'll try to discuss that when I can. When Digivolving, Blitz. Once per turn, when the attack target of one of your Digimon changes, unsuspend this Digimon for each red tamer you have in play. Gain 1 memory. Charge basically lets you redirect the attack somewhere else that you weren't allowed to. So basically, you can go attack a Mother D-Reaper or anything like that. You don't need to have like the MetalGreymon underneath it and the requirements for that. Analog Man. So start a main phase by trashing 1 cyborg type from your hand, gain 1 memory, draw a card. Opponent's turn. When an opponent's Digimon attacks a player, you may suspend this tamer to change the attack to one of your level 6 machine type Digimon. Security, play this card without paying its cost. This is basically your sleep paralysis demon on steroids here. And then we have Leomon Charge. When this Digimon attacks, you may change the attack target to one of your opponent's unsuspended Digimon with the highest DP. Not bad. You basically get to go after that Mother D-Reaper. Inheritable, once per turn, when this Digimon attacks, change, trash one of your opponent's top security stack. Not bad, actually, for Leomon. Just basically have Marsmon swing in, and then completely 180 the situation by a free trash. So you still get some extra damage in. And then we got Bearmon, Inheritable, once per turn, when this Digimon attack changes, it gains 3000 DP until the end of turn. Not bad at all. And then Grizzlymon, Charge, when this Digimon attacks, you may change the target of the attack to one of your opponent's unsuspended Digimon with the highest DP. And then Inheritable, once per turn, when this Digimon attacks, target change, it gains 3000 DP for the turn. So basically making Marsmon really beefy. Not terrible. And then we have Panjuramon. So this card is basically more Leomon support. This card / Digimon is treated as having Leomon in its name. Evolve, you may play a 4-cost, green or less, green or blue tamer from your hand with at no cost. Basically, free tamer support. We love it. Get us a Jerry out. Get us that Davis and Ken, and maybe Davis out as well. Inheritable, your turn once per turn. When another Digimon is played by an effect, one of your Digimon gains Rush for the turn. Not terrible at all. I love it. And then we do have Madoki Beta, Vanilla City. Then we have Agumon. So inheritable once per turn. When your tamer is played, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon. What do you guys think of the support? And what else do you guys think will be coming in Bt-11? Anything else spicy that you might think? So hopefully you guys enjoy the video. Remember, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace!